Chosen ones. Your cousin sits in darkness right now, deleting text messages with trembling fingers while whispering prayers they haven't said since childhood. The evidence of their betrayal burns in the fireplace behind them, but the smoke carries confessions they can't destroy. They joined your own family in dark rituals against you, and now the regret is eating them alive because something happened 3 weeks ago that changed everything. They've discovered who you really are, not the relative they grew up with, not the person they smiled at during family gatherings, but the divinely protected being whose spiritual authority makes their attempts at harm look like children throwing pebbles at a mountain. Tonight, while they scramble to destroy evidence of witchcraft and betrayal, you're about to understand why certain family members suddenly can't look you in the eye, and why the universe is orchestrating the most beautiful destruction of those who conspired against heaven's chosen. The story begins months ago, when jealousy poisoned your family's blood. Your light was getting too bright, your victories were becoming too visible, your blessings were exposing their lack, and instead of celebrating you, they gathered in secret. Your cousin was there, sitting in living rooms where your name was spoken with venom instead of love. They became the spy, the one who reported your movements back to the group. Every time you trusted them with your dreams, they were taking notes for your enemies. Every casual conversation was intelligence gathering for people who wanted you destroyed. The depth of their involvement goes beyond what you might imagine. Your cousin wasn't just passing information, they were actively participating in rituals designed to break your spirit. They brought personal items from your home during family visits, things so small you'd never notice them missing. A hair from your brush, a pen you used, a photograph they copied from your social media. These items were delivered to practitioners who specialized in the kind of darkness that makes even hardened spiritual warriors pause. Your cousin watched as these items were used in ceremonies meant to poison your dreams, block your progress, and twist your mind into paranoia. The collaboration was specific and intentional. There were assignments given to each family member involved. Your cousin's role was to maintain trust, to be the one you'd never suspect. They perfected the art of asking innocent questions that were actually reconnaissance missions. How's your health been? Any new opportunities coming up? Still having those dreams you mentioned? Every answer you gave was reported back to the group, analyzed for weaknesses, and incorporated into their spiritual attacks. Those unexplained headaches you had, the creative blocks that came from nowhere, the feeling of being watched, the sudden anxiety attacks, none of it was random. Your cousin helped orchestrate your suffering while maintaining their smile at Sunday dinners. But here's what they didn't know about you, what the entire family conspiracy failed to understand. You carry bloodline protection that goes back generations. Priests and priestesses walk in your ancestral line. Your spiritual DNA contains codes that activate when under attack. 3 weeks ago, when they performed what they thought would be the final ritual to destroy you, something spectacular happened instead. The attack bounced back with multiplied force, and in that moment of reversal, the veil lifted from your cousin's eyes. They saw you surrounded by light so bright it burned their retinas. They saw the armies of protection that stand guard around you. They saw their own darkness reflected back at them, and the vision hasn't stopped haunting them since. The reversal was immediate and devastating. The very night of their final ritual, your cousin woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of breaking glass, except nothing was broken. It was the sound of their spiritual protection shattering. They felt exposed, vulnerable in a way they'd never experienced before. The darkness they had invited in to attack you was now turning its attention to them, and they realized with growing horror that they had no defense against it. The practitioners they had worked with stopped answering their calls. The other family members began pretending they didn't know what your cousin was talking about. Everyone scattered, leaving your cousin alone with the consequences of what they'd done. The nightmares started immediately. Your cousin sees themselves standing before a tribunal where their crimes against you are written in letters of fire. Every night they relive the betrayal from your perspective, feeling what you felt, experiencing the pain they helped cause. But worse than the nightmares are the waking hours when they can feel judgment approaching like a storm system moving in from the coast. Their children ask why they look so scared. Their spouse wonders why they jump at every phone notification. The paranoia they tried to instill in you has become their constant companion. The physical manifestations began subtly, but have escalated rapidly. Your cousin's appearance has changed in ways that make people uncomfortable, though they can't quite articulate why. There's something in their eyes now, a darkness that wasn't there before, a fear that seems to live permanently in their pupils. They've lost weight without trying, aged years in weeks, and developed nervous habits that everyone notices but no one mentions. Their hands shake when they think no one is looking. They check locks multiple times. They've started sleeping with lights on, though it doesn't help with the shadows they see moving in their peripheral vision. The family members who orchestrated this conspiracy are turning on each other now. The group chat that once buzzed with plots against you sits silent. Everyone suspects everyone else of being the weak link. Your cousin watches this dissolution with growing panic because they realize they traded their soul's peace for an alliance with people who would sacrifice them without hesitation. The evidence they're all scrambling to destroy isn't just physical. They're trying to erase spiritual fingerprints. But how do you delete crimes from the Akashic records? How do you burn evidence that exists in dimensions they can't access? What makes their situation worse is that they're starting to remember things differently. Memories they thought were solid are shifting, showing them the truth of what they participated in from a higher perspective. They remember the first time they betrayed your trust, how it felt like something died inside them. They remember the meetings where your destruction was planned, how the room felt cold despite the heat being on. They remember handling your personal items, feeling them pulse with an energy that should have warned them to stop. These memories come unbidden during regular activities, turning mundane moments into opportunities for crushing guilt. The protection around you operates on frequencies they never understood. While they consulted with practitioners of darkness, thinking they were gaining power, you were being elevated to realms where their weapons couldn't reach. Your cousin is beginning to comprehend the magnitude of their mistake. They brought knives to a spiritual gunfight, and worse, they aimed at someone whose very existence is protected by forces that predate human memory. The backfire isn't just affecting them, it's affecting everyone who participated. Your spiritual guardians have been documenting everything from the beginning. Every meeting your family held against you was witnessed by beings they couldn't see. Every ritual performed was recorded in realms they didn't know existed. Every word spoken against you was written in books that will be opened at the appointed time. Your cousin is starting to sense this documentation, feeling watched not by earthly eyes but by something far more ancient and unforgiving. They've started seeing movements in mirrors that don't match their own. They've heard whispers in empty rooms. They've felt presences that make their skin crawl with recognition of judgment approaching. Strange things are happening to all the conspirators. Business deals that seemed certain are collapsing. Health issues are manifesting from nowhere. Relationships that seem solid are crumbling without explanation. Your cousin watches this systematic dismantling with the horrible realization that attacking you was like attacking the sun for shining. The sun doesn't need to retaliate. It simply continues being itself, and those who try to extinguish it burn from their own foolishness. The financial consequences have been particularly striking. Money they thought was secure has vanished through unexpected expenses. Investments that seemed solid have crumbled. Job opportunities that were promised have evaporated. Your cousin watches their bank account drain while yours fills, understanding finally that they tried to steal blessings that were divinely ordained for you. Every dollar they spent on dark work against you has cost them 100 in return. The prosperity they tried to block from reaching you has been redirected away from them entirely. The scramble to destroy evidence has become almost comical in its desperation. Your cousin burns papers at 3 a.m., not realizing the smoke itself carries the confession. They delete digital conversations, not understanding that everything exists in quantum fields beyond their reach. They try to gaslight family members about events everyone remembers, making themselves look unstable in the process. The cover-up has become more damaging than the original crime. Their laptop contains folders within folders of screenshots, recordings and documents related to the conspiracy against you. Each file they delete seems to replicate somewhere else, cloud backups they forgot about, cached versions on servers, screenshots in other people's phones. The digital trail they thought they could erase has become a web they can't untangle. Your cousin spends hours trying to track down every piece of electronic evidence, but for every one they find, two more seem to surface. Technology itself has become their enemy, preserving what they desperately need destroyed. What terrifies your cousin most is that they can feel you know. Not the details maybe, but the truth of it. They see it in your unshakable peace despite the storms they tried to create. They feel it in your continued rise despite their attempts to bury you. Your success in the face of their sabotage is the greatest evidence of your divine backing, and it torments them every waking moment. They rehearse apologies they'll never have the courage to deliver, knowing that some bridges don't just burn, they disintegrate at the molecular level. The other family members involved are starting to distance themselves from your cousin, sensing they might be the weakest link. Trust among spiritual attackers is non-existent, and your cousin realizes they're being positioned as the fall guy. The very people they betrayed you for are now ready to throw them under any bus to save themselves. The isolation is suffocating. They can't talk to anyone about what they're experiencing, because admitting their participation means exposing themselves to consequences they're not ready to face. Phone calls that used to be returned immediately now go to voicemail, text messages are left on read, social media connections are quietly severed. Your cousin watches their support system evaporate, realizing that the family bonds they thought were strengthened through shared conspiracy were actually transactions that ended the moment risk appeared. They've discovered that darkness doesn't create loyalty, it creates temporary alliances that dissolve at the first sign of exposure. The physical symptoms have started manifesting. Your cousin can't explain the constant fatigue, the way food has lost its taste, the feeling of being watched even when alone. Doctors find nothing wrong, but your cousin knows better. They're experiencing the somatic response to spiritual warfare, except they're on the losing side of a battle they initiated. Their body is rejecting the darkness they invited in, fighting a war on a cellular level that medicine can't detect or treat. If this message resonates with your spirit right now, hype this video so more chosen ones can discover this truth. The validation you've been seeking is encoded in these words, and others walking this path need to hear it. The children in the family have started having dreams too. Innocent mouths speak truths that make the conspirators' blood run cold. Your cousin's own children ask questions that cut to the bone. Why can't we visit that cousin anymore? Why do you look so sad when their name comes up? Why is there a shadow following you, parent? Children see through veils that adults have learned to accept, and their innocent observations are becoming evidence that can't be destroyed or denied. Your cousin's children have started experiencing things that can't be explained away. Night terrors that involve the same figures your cousin sees in their own dreams. Imaginary friends who whisper things about family secrets. Drawings that depict scenes from rituals they couldn't possibly know about. Your cousin realizes with growing horror that their choices have infected their bloodline, that the darkness they invited in doesn't respect boundaries of age or innocence. They've not only destroyed their own peace but have potentially cursed their lineage. Your elevation during this period has been divinely orchestrated. Every door they tried to close has opened wider. Every opportunity they tried to steal has multiplied. Every blessing they tried to block has intensified. Your cousin watches your rise with the bitter knowledge that they could have risen with you if they had chosen loyalty over jealousy. The blessings you would have shared freely are now yours alone because they removed themselves from your blessing circle through betrayal. The synchronicities in your life have become undeniable. Everything falls into place for you with an ease that defies logic. Meanwhile, your cousin experiences the opposite. A series of unfortunate events that seem orchestrated by the same force that orchestrates your blessings. They've started to understand that the universe itself has taken sides, and they chose to stand against the side that the universe favors. Every good thing that happens to you feels like salt in their wounds, not because they don't want you to succeed anymore, but because they realize they could have been part of that success. The timeline of exposure is accelerating. What they thought they could hide for years is surfacing in weeks. Conversations they thought were private are being overheard. Documents they thought were destroyed are being discovered. Digital footprints they thought were erased are being recovered. Your cousin watches this exposure unfold with the helplessness of someone watching a car crash in slow motion, unable to stop what they set in motion. The spiritual debt accumulating doesn't disappear with an apology.
Your cousin is learning that "I'm sorry" doesn't erase cosmic crimes. The universe operates on restoration, not just words. What was taken must be returned with interest. What was destroyed must be rebuilt at their expense. The energy they stole must be regenerated from their own reserves. They're beginning to understand the true cost of their choices, and it's a price they'll be paying for lifetimes. Each day brings new revelations about the depth of their mistake. They're starting to understand that they didn't just attack you, they attacked your purpose, your destiny, your divine assignment. And in attacking these things, they set themselves against the very force that orchestrates reality. Your cousin is beginning to grasp that they've made an enemy of the universe itself, and that's a war that can't be won, only survived with whatever grace might be offered. The family members who weren't involved in the conspiracy are starting to piece things together. Strange comments make sense now. Weird behaviors have context. The puzzle is assembling itself without anyone consciously putting it together, and your cousin sees the picture emerging with crystal clarity. It's a portrait of betrayal, so complete that when it's fully revealed, there will be no recovery, no return to how things were. Unexpected people are starting to ask questions. Neighbors who noticed strange visitors, friends who overheard partial phone conversations, co-workers who've observed the dramatic change in your cousin's demeanor. The circle of awareness is expanding, and your cousin can feel the walls closing in. They've started preparing cover stories, but lies require consistency, and the stress has fractured their ability to keep their stories straight. Your cousin's attempts to reconnect with spiritual protection are being rejected. The same forces they consulted for darkness won't accept their repentance. They've marked themselves with frequencies that repel light, and now they're discovering you can't simply wash off spiritual allegiances like temporary tattoos. Some choices create permanent alterations to your energetic signature, and they've signed themselves into a category that lightworkers instinctively avoid.
Prayer feels hollow now when it once brought comfort. Your cousin kneels beside their bed trying to reconnect with the divine protection they abandoned, but the words feel like ash in their mouth. They can sense that their prayers hit a ceiling, unable to penetrate the barrier they created through their choices. The spiritual isolation is perhaps the worst punishment of all, worse than the nightmares, worse than the fear, because it's the recognition that they've separated themselves from the source of all healing and redemption through their own actions. The knowledge that earthly justice might also be involved has added another layer to their terror. What started as family betrayal has tentacles reaching into areas that attract official attention. Your cousin realizes they didn't just commit spiritual crimes, they may have crossed legal lines in their enthusiasm to destroy you. The protection around you extends to earthly matters too. Documents surface at the right time, witnesses appear with perfect timing, evidence presents itself in undeniable ways. The psychological toll has become unbearable. Your cousin can't trust their own thoughts anymore. Every idea feels potentially poisoned by the darkness they invited in. They second-guess every decision, wondering if they're being influenced by the forces they partnered with. The paranoia they tried to instill in you has become their constant companion, whispering doubts and fears that multiply in the darkness of their guilt. Their marriage is suffering under the weight of secrets they can't share. Their spouse knows something is wrong but doesn't know what. The late-night burning of papers, the deleted messages, the jumpiness, the fear that seems to permeate every moment. Your cousin can't explain without confessing to crimes that would destroy not just their marriage, but their entire constructed identity. So they suffer in silence, watching their closest relationship deteriorate under the pressure of unspoken truth. Sleep offers no escape, because the dream realm has become a courtroom where they're forced to witness their crimes from your perspective. They feel what you felt, experience what you experienced, but with the added torment of knowing they caused it. These dreams leave them exhausted, aging rapidly from the stress of experiencing both sides of the betrayal simultaneously. Your cousin has aged years in months, and people comment on how different they look, how tired they seem, how something indefinable has changed. The family dynamics have shifted permanently, Even those who don't know the full story sense the disturbance in the family field. Gatherings feel different, conversations are strained, your absence or presence carries weight that everyone feels but can't explain. Your cousin knows they're responsible for this discord. They've damaged something that might take generations to repair, all for gains that have turned to ash in their hands. Family photographs have become instruments of torture. Your cousin can't look at pictures from before the betrayal without feeling the weight of what they've destroyed. Images of family gatherings where you smiled together now mock them with the evidence of relationships that can never be restored. They've started removing these photos from display, but the empty spaces on the wall speak louder than the images ever did. The universe has started sending them messages through unexpected channels. Random conversations include warnings. Books fall open to relevant passages. Songs on the radio speak directly to their situation. Your cousin can't escape the feeling that reality itself has become a messenger, delivering notice that their time is up. The grace period has ended. The consequences are no longer approaching. They've arrived. Even nature seems to have turned against them. Birds gather ominously outside their windows. Animals react strangely to their presence. Plants in their home wither despite proper care. Your cousin recognizes these as signs, as the natural world reflecting the spiritual discord they've created. They've become someone that even nature recognizes as corrupted, and this recognition adds another layer to their isolation. Your cousin has started seeing signs of your true identity everywhere. Synchronicities that point to your protection, numbers that confirm your divine backing, events that demonstrate your untouchable status. Each sign is another nail in the coffin of their peace, another reminder that they attacked someone who was never truly vulnerable to their weapons. The recognition of who you really are has become their daily torment. They've started researching spiritual lore obsessively, looking for some way to reverse what they've done. They read about karma, about divine justice, about the consequences of attacking the divinely protected. Every source confirms what they already know in their bones. Some actions can't be undone, some betrayals can't be forgotten, and some attacks trigger responses that can't be stopped once initiated. Your cousin is discovering that they've triggered something ancient and unstoppable. The other conspirators have gone completely silent now. Phone numbers have been changed, meetings have been cancelled. Everyone is in self-preservation mode, hoping that distance might somehow protect them from the consequences. Your cousin realizes they've been abandoned by the very people they betrayed you for. The alliance that seemed so powerful has evaporated like morning mist, leaving them alone to face what's coming. The weight of carrying this secret has become physically visible. Their vitality has drained, their light has dimmed. People ask if they're sick, if they need help, if something terrible has happened. They try to blame stress, work, life, but inside they know it's the weight of betrayal eating them from within. The guilt has become a cancer that no medicine can cure because it exists in dimensions that doctors can't examine. Your cousin has started having physical reactions to anything connected to you. Your name makes their stomach turn. Your photograph makes their hands shake. Even thinking about you too long brings on headaches that medication can't touch. Their body has developed an allergic reaction to their own guilt, and since the guilt is constant, so is the physical distress. They've become a prisoner in their own body, tortured by their own nervous system's response to what they've done. The spiritual backlash has started affecting their bloodline. Generational curses they activated are manifesting in their children's lives. Unexpected illnesses, behavioral changes, night terrors about shadows, all of it traceable back to the moment they chose to attack Heaven's chosen. Your cousin realizes their choices have created consequences that will ripple through generations, affecting innocent souls who had no part in the conspiracy. The final revelation is approaching, and your cousin can feel it like pressure in the atmosphere before a storm. They don't know when or how, but they know it's coming. The complete exposure. The moment when all masks fall and everyone sees the truth. They've started preparing for this apocalypse, but how do you prepare for the complete destruction of the false self you've presented to the world? They've started writing confession letters they'll never send, pages and pages of admissions, explanations, and apologies that will never reach you because they know words can't undo what they've done. These letters become a form of self-torture, forcing them to articulate the full extent of their betrayal. Each word written is another acknowledgement of the relationship they destroyed, the trust they shattered, the love they traded for temporary alliance with darkness. The irony that burns them most is that you would have shared your blessings freely. Your nature is generous, abundant, willing to elevate others with you, but they wanted to take rather than receive, to steal rather than be gifted, to destroy rather than celebrate. Now they watch from the shadows as everything meant for collective elevation becomes solo ascension, because they removed themselves from your blessing circle through betrayal. Your cousin now understands that some crimes leave marks that bleach won't wash away, and fire won't consume. They're discovering that when you conspire against a chosen one, you sign a contract with consequences that compound with interest. The very weapons they used against you have become the instruments of their own destruction. The spells they cast have reversed. The intentions they set have inverted. The energy they sent has returned with a force that's destroying everything they built on the foundation of your intended destruction. The protection around you isn't passive, it's aggressive in its defense. Your cousin has learned this the hard way. Every attack triggered a counterattack they didn't see coming. Every curse activated a blessing they couldn't stop. Every attempt to dim your light made it shine brighter. They realize now they were never fighting you. They were fighting the force that chose you, and that's a battle that was lost before it began. The scramble to destroy evidence has become more frantic as they sense the timeline closing. But for every piece of physical evidence they destroy, 10 spiritual pieces manifest. For every text they delete, a witness remembers. For every lie they tell, truth emerges from unexpected sources. Your cousin is learning that covering up crimes against the divinely protected is like trying to hold back the ocean with their hands. They've started seeing you differently in their mind's eye, not as the family member they knew, but as the spiritual being you've always been. In quiet moments they catch glimpses of your true form, radiant and protected, and it terrifies them more than any nightmare because it confirms what they've suspected. They didn't just betray family, they betrayed someone whose significance extends far beyond human relationships. They attacked a crucial piece in a divine plan they couldn't comprehend. The other family members involved are experiencing their own versions of this torment. Some are in denial, pretending nothing happened. Others are in bargaining mode, trying to make deals with a universe that doesn't negotiate with spiritual criminals. Your cousin watches them all with the knowledge that none of them will escape what's coming. The only variable is how it will manifest for each of them. Your peace through all of this has become the greatest evidence of your protection. While they panic and scramble, you rest in divine assurance. While they age from stress, you glow with spiritual vitality. While they lose everything, you gain exponentially. Your cousin sees this contrast and understands finally that they were never competing with you. They were competing with destiny itself. The moment of complete revelation draws closer. Your cousin can feel it in their bones, see it in the signs, sense it in the very air they breathe. The evidence they're trying to destroy doesn't matter anymore, because the real evidence is written in the spiritual realm where erasers don't exist. Their heavy regret is just the beginning of a journey through consequences they can't imagine. The family's panic is justified but futile. What they're really trying to destroy isn't evidence, it's the truth of what they've become. But truth has a way of surfacing, especially when it involves crimes against heaven's chosen. Your cousin knows this now. They see it every time they look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. The divine justice approaching isn't vengeful, it's mathematical. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. But in spiritual physics, actions against chosen ones carry exponential consequences. Your cousin is learning this equation the hard way. They thought they were dealing with simple addition and subtraction, but they've stumbled into calculus they can't comprehend. Your cousin has started to understand that forgiveness from you wouldn't even solve their problem. The laws they've violated exist beyond human relationships. Even if you forgave them completely, the spiritual consequences would continue, because they've offended principles that govern reality itself. They've learned that some crimes are against the universe, and the universe doesn't accept apologies, only balance, and the balance required for what they've done is more than they can pay. As the darkness of night returns, mirroring the opening of this saga, your cousin sits in the same chair, but everything has changed. The evidence they tried to destroy has become irrelevant, because the universe has already recorded everything. The family they conspired with has abandoned them. The power they thought they were gaining has become the very force of their undoing. They understand now that they didn't just betray a family member, they betrayed someone who walks with divine authority. The cousin who once sat in rooms plotting your downfall, now sits alone in rooms praying for their own survival. The confidence they had when joining the conspiracy has transformed into terror at what they've unleashed upon themselves. The same darkness they tried to wrap around you has become their shroud, and they can't find their way out of it. You stand now in the full knowledge of what was done and what has been divinely handled. Your throne wasn't stolen because it couldn't be. It was always yours by divine decree. Your cousin's heavy regret is their prison. The family's scramble to hide evidence is their confession. The protection around you is absolute, and everyone can see it now. The evidence burns in fireplaces across the family, but the smoke rises to heaven as testimony. Digital footprints are deleted, but they're archived in dimensions that never forget. Alibis are rehearsed, but truth needs no rehearsal. Your cousin watches all of this knowing it's futile, knowing that when you move against heaven's chosen, heaven itself responds. Your rise continues unabated by their fall. Every blessing they tried to block has intensified. Every door they tried to close has opened wider. Every attack they sent has become fertilizer for your growth. Your cousin sees this and understands that they didn't just fail, they contributed to your elevation through their opposition. The midnight hour that opened this story returns, but transformed. Your cousin's regret has evolved from fear of discovery to recognition of what they've lost. They could have been part of your rise. They could have shared in your blessings. They could have been protected by the same forces that protect you. Instead, they chose darkness, and now darkness has chosen them. The family that conspired together has scattered like leaves in a hurricane. Each member faces their own reckoning, their own version of the consequences. Your cousin realizes they weren't just part of a conspiracy, they were part of their own spiritual suicide. The very act of moving against you was the beginning of their end. As dawn breaks on this new chapter, the truth is undeniable. You are untouchable, not by your own power, but by the power that chose you before the foundations of the world were laid. Your cousin knows this now, and that knowledge is their eternal torment. The evidence they're destroying is nothing compared to the evidence of your divinity, manifesting in real time. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Rise, chosen one. Rise while they scramble to destroy evidence that the universe has already documented. Rise while their regret becomes heavier with each passing moment. Rise while the family that conspired against you discovers what it means to fight against heaven itself. Your throne awaits not because you fought for it, but because it was always yours. The cousin's heavy regret for working with this family against you has become their defining characteristic. People will speak of this in whispers for generations, how they had proximity to greatness and chose to destroy it, how they had access to blessings and chose to block them, how they had love and chose betrayal. The evidence they're trying to destroy will become legend, not because it's hidden, but because everyone will know exactly what they tried to do and how spectacularly they failed. Your protection through this revelation is complete. Your vindication is assured. Your rise is unstoppable. The cousin's regret will echo through eternity. The family's scramble will become a cautionary tale. But you, chosen one, you will stand as proof that those who are truly chosen cannot be destroyed by human conspiracy. This is your moment of complete revelation, not of revenge but of divine justice manifesting. Your cousin sits in darkness, drowning in regret, while you rise in light. The evidence they burn becomes smoke that announces their guilt. The digital trails they delete become quantum records of their betrayal. Everything they're trying to hide is being revealed in ways they never imagined. The transformation is complete. What started as their conspiracy against you has become your testimony of divine protection. Your cousin's heavy regret for working with this family is just the beginning of understanding what it means to move against heaven's chosen. The evidence they're desperately trying to destroy has become the very proof of your untouchable status. Stand in your power, chosen one. Stand while they scramble. Stand while they regret. Stand while they burn evidence that doesn't matter, because heaven has already issued its verdict. Your cousin knows now what they've done. The family sees what they've become. And you continue to rise, untouched and untouchable, a living testament to divine protection that never sleeps and never forgets.